Hey guys, thank you so much for gliding on over here to the Awesome Padron Show. Last night we saw John Wick 4. I was about to say John Wick 4, the fourth installment of the John Wick franchise.
Man, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Which it is funny because the third movie I think is the only one that has a name.
Yeah.
It's Parabellum.
Yeah,
John Wick. Others are just like chapter so and so.
Yeah, it's like the third one. They were like, oh, let's start doing this. But by the fourth, and they're like, that was, no need to keep this going. But yeah, so we saw John Wick 4 last night. This is a movie that a lot of people have been anticipating, considering the first three are really fun. Really fun. I think if there's any problems I had with the original, I really don't necessarily have any problems with the first one. I can think of anyways. I think the second one...
The dog died.
Yeah. That's true. If that wouldn't happen, it would have been perfect.
Yeah. It would have just been John Wick just chilling.
Yeah, with his
in
dog.
retirement. Yeah.
All right, come on then. How you doing?
It almost felt as if the first one, which I haven't looked into it to see if this is even true, but it almost seems like as if the first one was like its own thing, like it was just going to be a solo, and then like it made a lot of money probably, and then it seems like they were like, oh, let's make other ones, but like how are we going to make more? And then they made a second one, and the second one just felt like the second one, don't get me wrong, was really fun, and I'd watch it again, but it's just a movie that kind of felt like it was there to make two more, and because basically the first one starts off it is pretty much a good solo story, and then the rest of the movie stem off of the second one. And then the third one, I loved it, and I feel like the only part I don't like is the very end when I mean, obviously if you're watching this, you've seen the third one, but the end of the third one, he gets shot and then falls off like a really tall building.
Yeah, he gets shot multiple times and then falls off like a 7-story building.
Yeah, and then hits the ground and then falls off, and then he's not great, but he can tell he's hurt, but still he lives through it. And I feel like at that point it's a little much. I'm not gonna act like John Wick is a grounded realistic movie. Yeah. But at the very least, all the things that he lives through up until the end of the third movie is things that are possible. Likely, no, but possible, yes. Someone who's wildly lucky and ridiculously good at killing people. I can suspend my disbelief that much. But then whenever he does stuff falling off buildings and living, it's oh, okay, that's kind of a little ridiculous,
right? Yeah, yeah. It's almost like watching someone play a video game when they have invisibility on. I mean, it's fun for a little bit, but then after a while, it gets kind of boring because they just can't get killed.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the point of what I'm watching?
And even though you pretty much know that John Wick is probably not going to die in those, it's there's still that. Oh, he can die. You still thinking he can die. That happens a few times in this fourth one. Right. He falls off a few buildings, or at least a few at least the second or third story of something.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of times when he's out in the open, and they use this thing to where he uses his suit to block bullets. Yeah. And I know there's fabric that's armor. Yeah. But they use it a little bit too much. Yeah. Where it's just lifting up his suit. It's he's out in the open, not having to take cover and all that. It's okay, it's a little too much. Yeah.
I do know that our opinions on this are going to be drastically different than most, but I do want to preface it all by saying I did like this movie. I don't think it's bad. I wouldn't mind watching it again. If someone invited me to watch it, I'd probably watch it again. It's a fun movie. And the fight scenes, probably the best choreographed in the whole franchise. I do think these are some of the best fight scenes. But that also brings me to probably my biggest negative of this movie, and probably a negative that practically almost no one else will have, is I felt like the fight scenes were way too long in this movie. This movie was about 3 hours. I think it could have been cut down. I think it could have been cut down to about 2 hours, because I swear some of these fight scenes were at least 20 minutes, almost probably each of them. And the problem with that for me is the fight scenes are cool, But up until a certain point, they just kind of become repetitive.
Right.
And it's almost like I'm just watching a video game.
Yeah, and especially whenever you have those things that we talked about just a few minutes ago, where like he's out in the open, lifting up his suit, blocking bullets, falling off buildings, and all that. Yeah, it gets to be like, okay, it's a little bit too much. Even though I'm having fun, it's still a little too much.
And the sad part for me is that I really do feel like if this movie was cut down to like 2 hours, I felt like this could have been one of my favorites. I feel like it probably. I mean, I don't know for sure. I feel like it would have either been on par with the first one or maybe just a little bit below it, because I did like the story. I like the story more than the second one. I'm debating on the third one, but I do think it would have been a really good movie. It's just that the fight scenes were so long that it was just no balance between the story and the fight scenes. And yeah, I know the point of John Wick is the fight scenes, but I'm not asking for there to be a ton of story throughout the movie. I understand that. What I'm asking is at least just shorten down the fight scenes,
right?
At least by like half, because I do feel like that's where this movie kind of at times was kind of boring for me, because there's some cool times whenever like he found this really cool weapon and he's killing people with it, and you're like, oh, that's cool. But then he just kept doing it, and you're like, oh, okay, there's another. It's just, like I said, it just became repetitive. Therefore, some of the fight scenes for me almost became boring to a certain extent. Obviously, not completely boring, because it's like he's just killing a whole bunch of people. But to some extent, it almost became boring for me.
Right. I know that our opinions about the story differ pretty greatly, because me personally, there's something about the story that I just couldn't get into like I did the first 3 movies. Even the second movie, which I do agree with you that it did just feel like a setup to the third and fourth movie. But there's just something about the story that I just couldn't get into. And then there's a whole issue of like, I feel like they didn't balance the story and the action as well as the first 3 movies did, which also didn't help me get into the story, because I feel like we said, some of the action scenes drug on too long, but I also think some of the story sections lasted too long, kind of drug on a little bit.
If people watch this video and they get to this point, I know there's gonna be hatred for it. I know we're gonna get hate for it. We don't always get like a lot of views or a lot of comments, but if someone comes up on this, they see this, they're gonna be like, they're gonna hate us. Okay?
Hey, maybe we'll go viral.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I just want to say, I love Keanu Reeves. I think he's a fantastic person. You see all these videos, fantastic person. He's a great person. Okay, listen to me. Okay, you hear me? Great person.
And I agree with him, so listen to me too.
Yeah, I love him. I love the guy. I'm glad he's getting work. He deserves it. But Keanu Reeves is honestly not a good actor. Like at all. He can literally almost not say one word that just feels off.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I think we brought it up yesterday, where he's like, the way he even says yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, exactly. Yeah. Like there's like
that's an impression.
Yeah. And that's kind of a thing throughout the whole all the movies, and I don't really want to take off for it, because it's like, it's whatever. I do want to state that that's how I feel about Keanu Reeves acting, and like I said, I do think he's a great person.
Yeah, and he does his own stunts, so I commend him for that too.
Yeah. Now, and obviously Keanu Reeves really doesn't have a lot of lines in these movies. I mean, like it's not like he doesn't have like barely any at all, but he doesn't have like a lot of lines in these movies. But other than him, I do feel like everybody else does well. Lawrence Fishburne does great. I did like what's his name? The guy who plays it.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. He did great, and obviously, Lance Reddick. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's really sad that he passed away just like a week before his movie came out.
I'm gonna say that John Wick Chapter 4 is 65% awesome.
And I'm gonna say that John Wick Chapter 4 is 50% awesome.
Well, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment and let us know what you thought about John Wick Chapter 4, what you thought about our review of it, how much you disagree with it. And if you want to, you can even rank all 4 of them down below.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all at The Awesome Padron Show. And we both have individual TikToks, which we'll put down below.
Yeah, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.